All right, on to what I know now for many of you is your favourite part of the program. Some of you become quite dependent on my amazing readings of this book, A Different Kind of Power, a memoir from Jacinda Ardern. Right, yesterday we talked about her taking over as the Labor leader and having to save the furniture, but then just finding that every swinging female voter in the room, the pollsters said, we're going with Jacinda Ardern, and she might have had a chance. But you know what? She might not have won in 2017, according to this next passage. And I'll have a question for you at the end of the passage. We can speculate. Within the first 24 hours of becoming Labor leader, I'd sat down with colleagues to run through every potential policy announcement we might make in the next 2 months. The list was wide-ranging, including everything from an earlier-than-planned introduction of a year's free university education and apprenticeships, bribe to young voters, to a cannabis referendum, bribe to idiots. We were spitballing, writing down the entire universe of options from which we'd select a handful of major announcements and a daily program of smaller ones. My plan was to review the list over the next few days, selecting the issues we'd bring to the public that had most votes in them. I tucked the list into a folder, then headed off to the airport. Mike Jaspers had arranged for me to do a quick interview just before boarding our plane. The journalist stood near the check-in counter, a cleaning trolley nearby. I hurried over, folder tucked under one arm, briefcase in my hand. I set my belongings down, shoved the earpiece in. So it was a TV interview. Looked at the camera and began to talk. 5 minutes later, Mike and I headed off to our flight. We were on the plane checking our phones when Mike groaned. He'd just received a text from the journalist. After the interview, I had picked up my briefcase, but I'd left the folder, which had all the information, remember, on the cleaning trolley. That folder, the one that contained pages and pages of policy ideas and proposals. Ones we might adopt, others we wouldn't, but with no demarcation between them. As a journalist, you say, that's gold. That is gold. You've hit the mother lode. Here's all the crazy shite that Labor are going to do. To someone who hadn't been in the meeting, it would look like a complete unannounced campaign plan. Yes, a scoop. Yes, one that if it made public would see us lose control of our own agenda and leave our campaign in tatters. Now a journalist was standing in an airport holding it in her hands. Mike rubbed his forehead, pained. What do you want me to do? How could I have left this behind? With a journalist. Message her back, I said. Tell her it was nothing important, that she should just toss it in the rubbish bin, but say it in a nonchalant way, as if being nonchalant in a text were even possible. But apparently Mike's texting skills were enough to save the day. A few minutes later, Mike closed his eyes with relief and exhaled. She had dumped them, and I dodged a major mistake for now. Now, that's an amazing passage, because I'm going to ask you, who do you think the journalist was that was dumb enough to dump the motherlode of election campaign scoops? Because Mike Jaspers, former television journalist, completely lies to her on the instructions of Jacinda Ardern. Now, I think if it's a TV interview, it says earpiece, journalist was there, and we could probably go back through the archives and find, I think it's either Jessica Mutch Mackay or Tova O'Brien, which might explain, might it not, why one or t'other of them got such an easy ride, because they had been dumb enough to miss out on a complete scoop on the election campaign. I would like to know, either of those people can come forward now and confirm it. It either shows completely partisan journalism or complete incompetence. Though I do note, I don't know what Tova's doing, if she's on stuff or something. Jessica Much Mackay is now working for a bank somewhere. But isn't that just ridiculous that a journalist would do that? And it just shows Jacinda to be a bit of a liar and a bit of a manipulator.